do you cope more generally with criticism? Do you see, for example, if your work is commercially successful, does that make you feel better about it? Is commercial success more important than your own sense of subjective success or the admiration of colleagues, of other professionals?
I mean, the question that you asked, I mean, there are many different contexts and there are many different stages of an artist's life where certain things matter, and then later on they don't matter anymore. So if it's something, if commercial success is new to you, I think it's important because it's also a kind of recognition in the professional world. Yeah. Of course, you know, commercial success means a lot of different things for different artists, you know, and the idea of who judges, who compares your work with, the benchmark, you know, it's really about the benchmark. I think it's very important. I mean, to answer this question, I think it's very important to always surround yourself with artists that are as interesting, I mean, that have similar interests, different interests, but that strive for things, strive for the kind of energy that you strive for. I mean, and it's good to basically hang out with these people, to be in that environment, because that environment of being with them also allows yourself to get used to someone not liking what you do. Someone, you know, openings are, I mean, I'm just going to combine this to the commercial aspect and criticism, the art world, and then the different kinds of the art world. So I hate openings. You know, I have a solo show. I hate openings. I always hated it, you know. I've learned to, you know, to deal with it as time goes by, you know. But I hate to do it. I hate it because, of course, in COVID, you know, it's a bit different right now. But in openings, you have many people will come, and there are artists that you respect, artists that you want to get away from. You know, you can't have a conversation with. There is the dealers, different kinds of dealers. And then there are like collectors, you know, they're all very different kinds of audiences. And then you have yourself to deal with. And so all these things create a lot of mix, you know, it's a bit of a strange storm that happens that you need to try to contain it. So you choose to say some things and you choose not to say some things, yeah. And then artists that talk to you, you know, of course, they can be nice to you during the opening, and then they can write a bad review, or if they're critics on a separate day. So all these things, you need to get used to it, and it has to happen to every artist. You know, having a bad review, which which I have had, you know, in magazines, you know, comparing me with another artist, and I get a not so good review, and the other artist gets a better review, you know, and the ego, you know, the ego is being what they call it, distress, and there's a bit of distress happening to it. And then you start to question yourself. But all these things are great because they really are things where they test you in terms of, are you going to continue making this kind of work? You know, if you really believe in it, you continue making it. Yeah, you will not be swayed. You will not be swayed. So there are two sides of the coin. At the same time, it's good to hear the criticism. And at some point, maybe it's not so good to hear it, you know, maybe you hear it after a period of time, you know. And many artists have gone through these situations, yeah. And it's very much part and parcel, yeah.
So you're suggesting that you're in fact not solo when you're being an artist. You have not only the ghosts of the past and other artists who've been working in the same tradition, but you're also surrounded by voices commenting on your art, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, including your own voice.
Yeah, that's terrible. It sounds terrible, isn't it?
Why is that terrible?
I mean, you know, John Cage had this very famous quote that he talked about how you know, when you start painting in the studio, you have all these voices that you just talked about.
Yes.
And the ideal situation is when all these voices disappear, including your own voice.
Really? So sort of a transcendental moment of certainty. What do you think?
Yeah.
Gosh, that would be a nice, do you ever achieve that moment?
I think that moment, again, as it happens in an artist certain times, you know. It cannot happen all the time, because if it happens all the time, you know, I don't think it can happen all the time. It happens, yeah, it happens once in a while, I think. And it's, I mean, I can't assume anything, but maybe John Cage is telling a lie. Maybe he just said it, you know, so that we all can think about it. And
yes,
you know, artists are great at telling lies, you know.
Especially,
we are fiction
especially
makers,
to themselves, perhaps.
Yeah, we are fiction makers.
Right. Yes. Well. Yeah. Courageous.
You know,
courageous.
Picasso talked about the beautiful lie.
Yes.